I will call to order this regular meeting of the Board of Public Works. This is Tuesday, July 21st of 2020, that is the year. First up, we have messages from board members. Do we have any messages from the board this evening? Okay, hearing none. Next, we have petitions and remonstrances. If anyone is here to make a public comment about something that is not on our agenda this evening, now is the opportunity to do so. Do we have any public comment on anything that is not on the agenda?
If you do, would you please put a note in the chat or use the raise hand button for us? I don't see anything in the chat. So I think we're good to go, Kyla.
All right. Next up is Title VI enforcement. First is approved permission to abate property at 708 South Adams.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and unmute Dan. Oh, hang on one second. Unmute Joe's iPad. Daniel Dixon unmuted. All right. Daniel and hand staff, if you'd like to go ahead with, we got 708 South Adams Street.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and start with this one. So this is a petition for a continuous abatement for 708 South Adams Street. Notices of violation were issued for this on June 11th, June 16th, July 1st, and July 8th, 2020. All for violations of Bloomington Municipal Code 6.06.050 for tall grass and noxious weeds. These have not been remedied. You can probably see from the pictures attached to the packet that they're pretty severe and it needs to be dealt with pretty quickly. So staff would recommend and request a continuous abatement on this to expire June 11th of 2021.
Thank you. Are there questions from the board on this item?
No.
Is there any public comment on this item?
Again, if you have any public comment, please do the raise hand or leave a chat function. I see none, Kyla.
All right, is there a motion from the board on this item?
I move that we abate the property at 708 South Adams for continuous abatement.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Next up, we have permission to abate property listed as vacant lot at Ashland Park Drive.
So this this property appears to be vacant. This is, I believe, also near 11th Street, which is the next property that we're requesting an abatement for. Notices of violation were issued May 20th, June 24th, and July 7th of 2020 for violations of Bloomington Municipal Code 6.06.050 for tall grass and noxious weeds. As I said, this appears to be a vacant property, and therefore we are requesting a continuous abatement, which would expire on May 20th of 2021.
Thank you. Are there questions from the board on this item?
No.
Is there any public comment on this item?
I don't see any. And Kyla, or for the board, I would just add that yes, this and the property on West 11th Street are they T&D each other. This looks like to me like it's part of a development that has stalled in some way, but there's definitely been no mowing of the grass yet this year. So
Thanks for
Adam. Yeah. Adam, let me ask you this: the owners in Atlanta, Georgia, did I read that they?
Yes, I believe that's the development group out of Georgia.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So maybe they don't have anyone managing it here in town.
The other lots associated with the apartments and stuff are being maintained and manicured, but this definitely not.
Okay.
All
Thank
right,
you.
so I don't see any public comment. Is there any public comment coming in?
None.
Is there a motion from the board on this item?
I move that we abate the property at, let's see, North Ashland Drive, Ashland Park Drive, vacant lot, continuous abatement.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Next up is approve permission to abate property, which is also a vacant lot at West 11th Street.
Yeah, so this is same owner, same notice of violations date, same violations, and also just requesting an abatement for this property that would also expire on May 20th, 2021.
Thank you. Questions from the board on this item?
No, I don't have questions.
Any public comment on this item?
I don't see any.
Is there a motion from the board?
I move that we abate the property at West 11th Street and Ashland Park Drive. It's a vacant lot for continuous abatement.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Next up, we have, thanks. Next up, we have the consent agenda. Under the consent agenda, we have the approval of minutes for July 7th of 2020. We have approval of resolution 2020-31, renewal of a mobile vendor in the public right-of-way, and that's for the Big Cheese LLC. We have approved resolution 2020-32, renewal of mobile vendor in public right-of-way for Rasta Pops. Approve resolution 2020-35, renewal of mobile vendor in public right-of-way for Limestone Barbecue. Approval of service agreement with Cone for Morton Street Garage hoistway cleaning, and then approval of the payroll register. Do we have any items that need to be removed from the consent agenda this evening? Hearing none. Is there any public comment on any of the items within the consent agenda? Seeing none, hearing none.
I don't see any.
Do we have a motion from the board on the consent agenda?
I move that we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion passes. Next, under new business, we have approve agreement between City of Bloomington and Bloomington Monroe County Metropolitan Planning Organization.
All right, this is Adam Wason on behalf of Pat Martin. I don't think Pat was able to join us this evening, but as we discussed yesterday in the work session, every couple of years we renew an agreement with the Bloomington Monroe County Metropolitan Planning Organization, which is the transportation planning agency for the metropolitan area. And so this helps to reimburse the asset management costs of the Public Works Department and our efforts with that. And so I think we noted yesterday, this is something like the 32nd year of the agreement, and this will just help cover some of our costs. So requesting your approval.
Thank you. Questions from the board on this item?
I don't have a question, no.
Is there any public comment on this item?
I don't see any.
Is there a motion from the board?
I move approval of the agreement between City of Bloomington and the Bloomington Monroe County Metropolitan Planning Organization.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Next up, we have approval of resolution 2020-34, approve encroachment agreement at 304 West Kirkwood with the Foundry 304 LLC.
All right, I'm trying to get Sarah Gomez unmuted. Sarah, do we have you?
You have me?
Yep, there we go.
Okay. The Foundry is a recently completed multifamily development at 304 West Kirkwood Avenue. The owner, Matt Arago, is requesting approval for encroachments placed in the right-of-way as part of this project. The bike rack and bench encroachment would normally be approved at staff level. However, due to changes in the agreement and previous approval by the board, staff is bringing it again for board review. The original encroachment agreement was approved by the board on September 4th, 2018. The previously approved agreement described 5 planters, which will not be installed. It also described 5 bike racks, and there are only 3 bike racks installed. Excuse me, got a stutter here. The updated request for encroachment includes 1 5-foot-long bench and 3 U-style bike racks. These items have been installed in the tree plot between the sidewalk and Kirkwood Avenue near the southeast corner of the intersection of Kirkwood Avenue and Morton Street. Planning staff has approved the change in the number of bike racks located in the right-of-way, and staff recommends approval of the updated encroachment agreement.
Thank you. Questions from the board on this item?
And just to make note to the board, we do have Brian White, the owner's representative, on the meeting. Got him available and unmuted for questions if anyone has them.
Thanks. So no questions from the board. Are there any public comments on this item?
Not seeing any come through, no.
All right, is there a motion from the board?
I move that we approve Resolution 2020-34, approval of encroachment agreement at 304 West Kirkwood with the Foundry 304 LLC.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Next, we have approve request for road closure on East 11th Street from Weddell Brothers, and this is July 22nd of 2020 through August 4th of 2020.
Again, Sarah Gomez, Planning and Transportation Department. Weddell Brothers is requesting a temporary road closure of East 11th Street between Forest Avenue and Fee Lane as part of the IU parking garage and office building project. This request is to accommodate steam line and storm sewer installation across 11th Street. The traffic control will be in place, as already said, July 22nd, 2020 to August 4th, 2020. Weddell Brothers has supplied maintenance traffic plans for all the work, and public notice to adjacent property owners was handled through IU Capital Planning and Facilities, since all adjacent property is IU property. Staff has reviewed the request and recommends granting permission to Weddell Brothers for the temporary road closure on East 11th Street. And Mr. Jim McElroy is here with Weddell Brothers for any further questions.
Thank you. Questions from the board on this item?
Sarah, who is responsible for putting the signage up?
Weddell Brothers.
Weddell Brothers will do that. Okay. Signage. Thank you.
Any other questions from the board? Any public comment on this item?
I don't see any.
Is there a motion from the board on this item?
I move that we approve request for road closure on East 11th Street from Weddell Brothers, July 22nd to August 4th, 2020.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thanks. Next, we have approve acceptance of public improvements associated with Summit Ridge development.
Sarah Gomez here again, Planning and Transportation Department. Mr. Kenny Blackwell has requested to have public improvements associated with Summit Ridge accepted by the city. The public improvements are sidewalks, curbs, street trees, street names, stop signs, and curb ramps located along the 6 streets being accepted into city inventory. Those 6 streets are West Countryside Lane, West Eventide Drive, South Addison Lane, West Sunstone Drive, South Flat Rock Road, and South Delilah Star Road, Drive. They range anywhere from 40 feet in width to 60 feet in width right away. The alleyways behind units 84 to 73 and 98 to 107 are privately owned and maintained by the Summit Ridge HOA. And the alley behind units 40 to 59 is not actually an alley. It is a utility drainage and ingress egress easement, not public right of way. And it will not be maintained by the city. Typically, staff submits the plats associated with the project being accepted. Due to the fact there were 10 plats for this Summit Ridge development project, I included a site plan for the entire project, which shows the widths and lengths of the right-of-way and streets, and also included a list of the phase and numbers and the recorded document numbers for the plats associated with those, and the unit numbers as well. Acceptance of these public improvements will initiate following city services performed by Public Works, sign maintenance, sanitation services, and street maintenance, which includes plowing, salting, and paving the streets. Street tree maintenance will be Parks and Recreation, with 142 new street trees to be maintained. City of Bloomington Utilities has inspected the infrastructure they will maintain, and planning staff has no outstanding items for the developer to address. Mr. Blackwell has supplied a $15,000 escrow account in lieu of a maintenance bond for the public improvements that extends until 2022, excuse me. This was approved by the board at the July 7th, 2020 meeting. Planning and Transportation staff have inspected the public improvements and recommend acceptance.
Thank you. Questions from the board on this item?
I'll just note, we do have Mr. Blackwell on the line as well, and I'm trying to get him unmuted in case there's any questions for him.
Thank you.
There we go. And Mr. Blackwell's unmuted in case there's questions for him.
I have a question for Sarah. As soon as we accept this, then the city services begin right away. I mean, they're set up with their barrels and things.
We'll work on that over this is Adam, sorry. We'll work on that over the next
Yes, that's right.
weeks to get with each of the residences and get carts delivered and things like that.
Okay.
My guess is that
Okay.
this would start sometime in early to mid-August.
All right, good, thank you.
So currently they have a trash service set up. Mr. Blackwell might be able to speak further to this, but there are some dumpsters located not in the public right of way that the residents use to dump trash in. I'm not sure what other services he has at the moment.
Okay, that's good.
We would expect those dumpsters to be removed when the city starts sanitation services.
And so Adam, will you be able to just make sure they coordinate that with sanitation, that once all the residents have their carts and know that they have that service, that then the private receptacles would be removed?
Yeah, that would be, yes, we can make sure of that.
Any other questions from the board?
No.
Any public comment on this item?
I don't see any in the chat.
Is there a motion on this item?
I move
I
approval.
move acceptance. Go ahead.
Approval of acceptance of the public improvements associated with Summit Ridge development.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next up, we have approval of West Allen Street Traffic Calming Project, change order number 3.
Good evening. This is Russell White with City of Bloomington Planning and Transportation. just to refresh everybody's memory, the West Allen Street traffic calming project included the installation of 2 raised crosswalks to access bus shelters on the south side of Allen Street, and 1 speed hump in between the 2, and these exist on Allen Street between South Adams and South Strong Drive. This particular change order has 2 issues that it addresses. The first is the need for additional piping to repair a safety issue on a sidewalk that accesses the bus shelter at the easternmost edge of this project. When the project was designed, this piece of sidewalk crosses a storm pipe, and it wasn't realized until after it was installed that once you step off the edge of the sidewalk, it's about a 15-inch drop down into a swale. And so we had asked the contractor for safety to add pipe to either side of that sidewalk and then put some soil and grass to grow so you can't step off the edge of the sidewalk and injure yourself. The second issue that this addresses is there were 2 of the pay items that went over by more than 20% of what was estimated. Those 2 items involved common excavation and stone. And the common excavation involved underneath all of the raised crosswalks, the 2 raised crosswalks and the speed hump, and then the stone that's put underneath as a base. The plans estimated the asphalt depth that was to be removed would be 9 inches. It actually was averaged about 11 inches. So that ran both of these items over by more than 20%, and that's why they need to be addressed at the board. If approved, this change order would increase the contract by $10,883.36, and staff recommends approval of this change order.
Thank you. Questions from the board on this item?
Russell, when will this project be completed?
This project is actually completed, and they've already done the final punch list and completed everything. This is just to finalize the project out.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Of course.
Any other questions on this item? Any public comment on this item?
I don't see any in the chat. Is this when we say hi, Lucy?
Yeah, she's listening. She's now off camera.
Hi, Lucy.
All right, hearing no public comment other than from Lucy. Do we have a motion on this item?
I move approval of change order number 3 for the West Allen Street traffic calming project.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we have staff reports and other business.
Just a couple of very brief things this evening for staff report. We are continuing to operate all public works services as per normal schedules and such. I did want to give an update on the 10th Street project there by the Kelly School and SPIA and the Wells Library. That's the project in coordination with Indiana University to add the pedestrian safety enhancements. Milestone, the contract on that has gotten delayed a couple, we're hoping less than a week on that project with some underground utility conflicts that they've experienced. So we've been in close communication with Indiana University and Milestone Construction. Want to say a big thanks to Joel Stevens and his team at Indiana University for kind of going above and beyond with some coordination. If you recall, the street department scheduled to go in and mill and pave once that project's complete. We're going to actually get the milling in while the project's ongoing and then work on the paving so that we're out of there before August 1st or 2nd. So pushing that one as quickly as possible, but do have a few delays. It'll likely go beyond the board's original approval dates by a couple days, but we can approve that at a staff level for the what we're hopeful to be less than 3 to 5 days of additional work. So just an update there. Otherwise, we're continuing. I think the mayor's executive orders have been announced in terms of gatherings for gathering sizes within the community. What I can tell you is the Public Works Department and many other departments of the city are working very closely with our colleagues at Indiana University and other community agencies and organizations on really trying to do everything we can to slow and stop the spread of COVID locally. Students are set to return to the community here very soon for those that left for the summer. And so just really working together on, how the different executive order and county orders will be enforced. And so those discussions are ongoing, and do want you to know Public Works is also part of that. So what I'd just like to say to the community and to all is, these aren't easy times for parents out there, for members of our community that are struggling. Let's get over this. Let's wear our masks. Let's do what we need to do to start the downward trend that we really need to see. So otherwise, just appreciate all the staff members throughout Public Works and the city, and appreciate the board for their support. And that's all I have this evening.
Thank you. Next up is claims.
Kyle, I have a question.
Sure. Yeah.
Adam, I just wanted to know about the scooters. Are they all three companies now in town working to get scooters up and around?
No, I think I've seen Lime or not Lime, a few Bird scooters, and then the newer one, the Vio Ride, but I haven't seen anything Lime of late.
Okay.
Their numbers are pretty low from what we see.
Okay.
And I think their usage is quite low.
Yeah, I just wondered if they would have a policy for cleaning the scooters regularly also.
They note, they have, I think they have little hang tags on them that talk about sanitation practices.
Okay. All right.
I don't know. I'm a little skeptical.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. I haven't seen many around, but I see a few.
Yep.
All right. We will move on with claims. Are there any questions on the claims?
No.
Is there a motion on claims?
I move that we approve claims $2,069,240.70.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. And if there's nothing else this evening, then I will call for adjournment.
Meeting's adjourned.
All right, everybody have a great evening. Thank you.
You too. Thanks.
Good evening.
Thank you.